Oh, yeah, now we're live. We got a couple people in. So, hello, everybody. I'm Brandon Ellrich. My publication is Brandon Ellrich is So Gay. And I'm here today with Cory Vinny. And Cory, if you want to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about your publication or whatever you want to, however you want to do it, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Cory, and I write for my newsletter called Radical Paths. And I've been writing now for about a year on Substack, which is kind of wild that it's already been that long. But what I really focus on is people and the ability to really redefine our metrics of success and our paths in life according to what we want the most. And something I say a lot is basically like I try to help my readers hopefully make their realities look more like their values and really identify their values and think hard about like what's important to them and then try to build a life that they want around those values. And I'm living this in real time right now, bringing these lessons and reflections and frameworks from my sailboat. Actually, back in May of this year, I quit my job and moved onto a sailboat with my husband and our cat, and we started sailing around the American Northeast to try to get out of hurricane season and try to learn how to sail because we didn't even know how to sail. This was just some wild idea we had was to live on a sailboat and have a life of adventure and freedom and passion and try to commune with nature and be more comfortable in uncertainty and the unknown and all this kind of stuff. And we ended up teaching ourselves how to be pretty competent sailors. And now we're in the Bahamas. We just got here on Sunday and sailed here from Florida. So now we're just at the beginning of this international leg of the trip. And again, I'm really hoping that my readers take away some of the lessons that we've learned like along the way, that you don't have to be an expert in order to do something new. You can fumble your way all the way toward success, as you define it. And really the important thing is just jumping off and taking some risks and getting comfortable, feeling like an idiot sometimes. And I have a lot of stories about that, about just, you know, making a lot of mistakes along the way. But that's how you do it. And now we're here in the Bahamas. So I feel pretty pretty grateful also to be talking to you, Brandon, and you've been a friend throughout this. So I appreciate it, you inviting me on.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was excited to have you on. I'm doing lives all this month, and I thought of you as one person I'd like to have on. So I'm glad you were able to do it. I know you're, with scheduling and everything is. I kind of had to, you know, wait till the last minute. I'm like, is he going to be able to do it? But
Yeah.
and I should say first of all, those of us in the Midwest and north of here probably hate you. So because it is cold here, and I imagine it is not cold there.
No, it's very nice. It was cold yesterday, but when I say cold, I was still wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
I was gonna say when you say cold, that is relative. So
Yeah.
what's
Yeah, and
what
it's
is the temperature?
probably 80, like
Oh yeah,
perfect basically. And like even
yeah.
moving around and doing chores and stuff, it's still like a really nice weather. But I want to introduce I can show you what my husband's up to right now. Um let's see. Say hi, Corey. um, so Corey is currently like diving on the boat, they say, and we're at a marina right now. I'm sorry if it's really loud, but we're at a marina in the Bahamas, and he had to go down below the boat in the water to fix something that was like squeaking or like it was like rattling and causing us some problems and some concerns as we were motoring through
Oh, okay.
in the last couple of weeks. So this is what we do is try to like do boat projects at all times basically. But he'll join us shortly.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Um, so yeah, you were talking about living the life you want to live, and you're basically leading by example right now. And I know you mentioned being looking like idiots or something like that, feeling like idiots, and that's one article I read of yours not too long ago. The We just sailed 350 miles like it was nothing, and in that you said to embrace feeling like idiots. And I felt like a lot of the things you were saying in that article were kind of like parallels to at least me starting Substack, and probably how a lot of people feel starting writing when they had never done that before. They're just kind of doing something, they're not experienced with, or they've never written before besides maybe journaling or something like that, and kind of taking off and making this a trying to make this a profession. I was wondering if you saw any like parallels with, because you just said you've joined Substack just a year ago, and actually this is my anniversary too. I started Substack. I think my first post was like December 2nd of last year or something like that. So I'm just barely past the year mark too. But
Yeah,
had you written anything, written much before that, or
yeah, yeah. I totally relate with the whole Substack, uh, similarities, even with sailing and with every hard thing I've ever done. When I first started on Substack, I was able to import 40 subscribers from Medium, but they weren't like actually. I don't even know if they checked their email addresses or anything. I've never seen them like pop. I don't think I've ever seen anyone from that old Medium email list pop up as a follower on like an engaged subscriber. And it was really lonely at first, publishing to a
yeah,
couple people. I actually didn't even tell my friends and family at first about my Substack because I wanted a little bit of freedom um, to just talk about whatever I wanted and feel like I didn't have to to like be. I don't know. I didn't want people like celebrating me if like before I was actually producing anything good. Like I wanted some time to play a little bit before I really let people know. And I did feel like an idiot actually a lot, just publishing into the void, spending 10 hours on an article that maybe one person read. Uh,
yeah,
but but yeah, to answer your question, I did read. I did write on Medium for about a year before that. Pretty steadily. And even back a few years before that, I was writing on Medium as well while I was still in grad school. And I got to see the evolution of Medium and just how it used to be more common to make some money on some of the essays that I would write on Medium, and then it
yeah,
became actually pretty challenging to
yeah,
make money, as you know, I think, Brandon. And
yeah,
so one of the things that I really liked about Substack, though, was that I could engage better with my community that I was building. Because in Medium, I would see sometimes I'd write articles and very different readers would be reading them for each article. I didn't have like a steady group of people that was following me. It really depended on the topic and all that. And so,
hmm
so Substack has been great for that. Just but it took, I still feel this way. Like I feel like I haven't hit some of the metrics that I wanted to do. I haven't been able to put as much time into building out certain aspects of my Substack as I hoped I would by this point. Um, but I'm just going to keep going. Every week I publish an article on Sunday. I try to engage with notes every day, like publish notes, engage with other people, and at the very least, I have a really cool community of people that I really enjoy and get to share this adventure with and get to learn from. But yeah, it's still something I feel, you know like I feel a little insecure about sometimes, and I think like any of us who put ourselves out there and create and write or draw or do whatever, that's going to happen, and that's just the nature of it. You just have to keep pushing through it and remember why you're doing it, I think.
right, yeah, yeah. And I was on Medium also. Well, I still am on Medium technically. I still have an account there, and I don't publish a whole lot there. I started there in, I think it was 2022 maybe, when I actually joined the partner program. And I just kind of like you, I was a little luckier, though. I feel like I did kind of, I was part of a community there. I joined like a writing prompt community, and so we all read each other's stuff. They had a list of writing prompts every month, and we all kind of engaged with each other and wrote these writing prompts and things. So in that respect, I did feel like I had sort of a community. But um, as far as like making money and stuff, it was difficult. And I got to the point where I was finally getting boosted. I got a bunch of articles boosted, and For like 2 or 3 months in a row, I was doing pretty well doing that. And I thought, oh, maybe I could actually make money doing this.
Hmm.
I can earn my living on Medium, and then, you know, that stopped. Uh,
Really? So it just like kind of turned off one day, or it
yeah, it
just
was,
became harder to do to recreate the
yeah,
magic.
I kind of got to the point where it was like in October of, I don't remember. Time is, uh, I can't keep track of time anymore, but it was October of a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. I got an article boosted, and then I wrote a couple more and they were boosted. And so October, November, and December, I was getting a bunch of articles boosted. And there was, in one of those months, I made like 800 some dollars on my boosted articles, which was really good for me. I mean, that was a lot more than I had made any month previous. And, but then in January, I got to the point where I kind of figured out their formula, kind of what they were looking for in a
Yeah.
boosted article. And then a couple articles that I wrote, I was sure that they were going to get boosted and they weren't. And that kind of discouraged me. And I was like, oh, but then I got a job doing some freelance writing, and I did that for several months and just put Medium to the side. But yeah, they kind of changed up what they were looking for in the boost. They weren't doing the LGBTQ stuff as much. They weren't boosting as much of that. And I've heard that from other writers like Dana Dubois. She's a boost nominator and writes
Hmm.
for a Pink Heron Pronouns, which is an LGBTQ publication on Medium. And she said the same thing, that they kind of stopped boosting those types of articles. But
Yeah, yeah,
anyway, I
it's really frustrating. I've tried to go back and occasionally submit some articles about my sailing adventure, and I have like almost zero luck with any sailing stuff. Even though I feel like my sailing isn't just about sailing, or my sailing articles aren't just about sailing. It's about like larger life lessons, and I try my best to. I understand that most of my audience are not sailors, and I am very
yeah,
clear, I think, to folks that this isn't a sailing blog. This is more like a life culture philosophy blog. Hopefully, I'd be curious how other people define it, but I'm surprised by like my articles not really doing well on Medium. I did have in August, I believe, I got two articles boosted right in a row. I think within like 3 days, and I made like $1,000 in a month. And I was like, hell yeah,
oh,
Medium is back. And then I
yeah,
just kept on trying, and I just didn't. I wasn't able to do it. And every time I don't get boosted, I know you're supposed to just keep on playing the lottery game and just keep on like pushing forward,
yeah,
and like not worry about it too much or take it personally. But every time I don't get boosted, it feels like someone's like, punching me in the face. Basically, it doesn't feel
yeah,
good. Whereas like on Substack, I don't make much money, but at least like I have total control, and the metrics that I have for whether something is good is whether people are engaging with it. And it's like, if I'm getting a DM after and someone's telling me like, thank you for what you wrote, or mostly
yeah,
comments. Like I really am, my favorite thing I think is comments. Like when there's like a lively discussion about something I wrote, like that is like the best,
yeah,
coolest thing. And just getting to know people better, and like how people approach these ideas, and even like other sailors or other, people that have done hard stuff or living vicariously through what we're doing or whatever, or just have an opinion or some reflections or questions. It's like the coolest thing in the world. And, even though I do need to make money, I think I'd still be doing this even if like, even if that wasn't
yeah,
like a necessity. So that's kind of a cool thing to be doing. And so I don't, I think even though I put an untold number of hours into my Substack, like, probably like just so much, like 600, 700 hours or something. I've written like 60 articles, and then engaged in notes and stuff. So it might be 1,000 hours or something, and not made. I probably am like at like $1 an hour at this point,
yeah,
if that. But but I'd still be doing it. I don't feel like an idiot for putting in that time. Like I love it. I love this community, and so yeah, I'm kind of like coming full circle to say that I wish that Substack had something a little more like Medium, where somehow they could support some of the writers that aren't the big shots. Somehow maybe they can
yeah,
uh, tax or something the big ones that are the purple check marks, and somehow use those proceeds to keep the other like up and comers going. Otherwise, I think a lot of people are gonna find out that a year in, they're just not making enough to make it worthwhile. And, Substack can suffer in the future because of that, unless people are just doing it because they love it. But if you're like if Substack is trying to like retain talent and attract talent, and and you're not like a celebrity already, yikes, this is not the place to make money. I don't think. I'd be curious what your perspective is, but I wish there was like a way to support the smaller writers a little bit better, like Medium does.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I I've been doing fairly well, but not as well as some of the other people in my category, and more celebrities are coming in to those categories, and they don't need to work as hard as we do. They come in, and in 2 weeks they've got thousands of subscribers already, and they haven't even posted anything. It's just the fact that they're there and people know them and they follow them no matter what they're here for. And but of course, there are a lot of them are they are paywalling their content, and I I don't know. That's kind of frustrating because a lot of them don't need it.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Like
and
Kathy Griffin came on to Substack,
yes,
for instance, and
yes,
her first note said, "I'm worth $50 million," and or something along those lines. That's what I remembered from the note. But all of her stuff was paywalled. I was like, Jesus, girl, like, is that a joke? Is this supposed to? Are
yeah,
you like? Is this a? I don't know, but I mean, I also get like this is marketing or capitalism 101, where if you have something worth, that people are willing to pay for, you charge, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I don't know how it works, like in terms of the total Substack economy, where if those people are charging, if that makes it there less money to go around for other folks. I think there might be. I think Walter Ryan kind of talks about that a little bit, where some of these big news media people that have purple check marks, they don't need your $10 as much as someone like Walter does, in
right,
order to like,
right,
that's existential for someone like him. And Substack needs people like him and people like us, and in my opinion, so,
right.
um, but yeah, it's been great overall though. I think this is like my favorite platform, my favorite social media platform, I think. And I've been recently actually writing on LinkedIn a little bit, and that's been interesting because it's a whole different audience. It's like back in my professional days where, and I have like a PhD in science, and I have like a real professional network from my years in government and in Washington D.C. and stuff like that. And I'm trying to see what is like connecting with those folks, and it's very different than what I would write on Substack, but it's interesting because it's like a whole different, it's a different audience, like I said. But also, I'm hoping that I can maybe build a business around some of the stuff that I'm doing, and help other folks at some point, who are struggling or feel stuck in their lives, in order to like actually get unstuck and find some courage and clarity about maybe where they want to go next in life. Maybe they have some dream that they want to do, or that they've always had, but they just feel like it's impossible, and or they feel like someone like them can't do it, or they just feel like they don't know where to start. And I'd love to just be able to work one on one with some of those people who
Yeah,
feel that way, and to help get them unstuck, because I've been there. I felt stuck. I felt stuck before I quit my job to live on a sailboat. Felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like I couldn't afford it. I felt like it was too risky for my career. Felt like I was too young, and somehow like my duty was to just like work in the machine for another 30 years before I earn my dues or earn my ability to do what I'm doing. But all that's a bunch of BS a lot of times, and we create stories, and it makes sense. We create stories that kind of keep us stuck. And so anyway, I'm hoping that on LinkedIn I can find some folks who are maybe in a similar position to where I was a year and a half ago, where they got their dream job, and but they want something different, and they want it. They don't want it in 30 years. They would like it like as soon as possible, maybe in 2 years, 5 years, or a year, or 6 months, or whatever. And so I would love to help people like that. And I feel like LinkedIn is a cool place for that. I see people doing that kind of work. But other than that, I try to stay off of social media mostly.
yeah, yeah. Same here. I don't. I'm not on Facebook at all, and or Instagram. I am on LinkedIn. I don't seem to get a whole lot of engagement in there, but according to my Substack notes, oh, hello, Captain Cory.
Hello. Yeah, this is my
How's it going?
husband. It's going well. How are you?
All right.
Great to meet
It's
you.
nice to meet you. Yeah, you too.
Did you get it done? Yeah, I got it done. Yes. Awesome. And he didn't get eaten
That's
by a
cool.
shark, so that's
Yeah.
good. We were concerned about some sharks. I think it was
Oh,
2 days.
really? I mean, actual concern.
Yeah.
Well, the first day we were here, I dove on the boat to check some things out, and there were some guys cleaning some fish on the edge of the dock, and it
Oh,
attracted some
yeah.
sharks. So
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, you should probably get out of the water." And I got out of the water and went over to the dock to look down into it, and yeah, there were a few sharks down there. So
Nice. Oh, yeah. I've never had the desire to swim with sharks. I know some people do that. Even in the cage, I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
no thanks.
Yeah, some of the sharks are supposedly nice, and some of them are really deadly. I want to introduce you to the third member of our family. Also, this is Pineapple. She
Oh,
just
yeah.
stepped up. uh, she's howling down below. I know some of the folks on the call. I saw Ted on here and Violet and Elias and Simo. I think they all know our cat. She came with us as well on our adventure.
Well, well, this is
Aw.
Zach.
oh,
But my
nice.
my other cat Zoe is in the other room sleeping, I think. So I'm not going to disturb her right now.
Are they friends?
Um,
Sometimes,
Zach would Zach would say that they're friends. Zoe is not. I don't think she would agree. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
they
how it goes
tolerate
sometimes.
each. Yeah, Zoe tolerates Zach, and he goes. He wants to groom her. He licks her on the face and stuff like that, and she eventually gets tired of it and growls at him. And but she tolerates him to a point, and they sleep together sometimes. They cuddle and all that. But I think she would be fine without him. But it's
Yeah,
it's it's not a mutual relationship.
yeah. Pineapple is an only child for sure. Yeah. She had a little bit of a vet scare actually on Monday. Our first day in the Bahamas, she was having some issues like peeing blood, and it was really scary. And
Oh
we took her to
yeah.
the vet. Thankfully, someone asked where we are. They might have been asking you too, Brandon, but they we're in the Bahamas right now, and we just got here from Florida. And the first full day here, she was having some issues, and thankfully we were able to take her to the vet, and she just needed an antibiotic, and it was fine. And it was only like
That's good.
$175, not thousands or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're pretty happy, and she's doing well. But she's like almost 18 years old, and so every time something
Oh yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
we're very scared.
Yeah. I worry about mine too. Zoe's kind of she's an indoor outdoor cat. She spends a lot of her time outside, but it can be a little more dangerous out there. She can get into stuff that she wouldn't if she were a completely indoor cat, but she loves it. She loves going
Yeah,
outside and hunting and everything. And we're in a rural area, so she's able to do that, and there's not a worry about traffic or anything like that. So, but yeah, anyway,
that's cool that she gets to do that. I think it's like good for their nature
yeah,
and stuff. Like
yeah,
Pineapple's
I
been an
think so
indoor
too.
cat. She's exploring the boat right now, and that's fine. She doesn't seem to like want to jump off. Hopefully the sharks don't smell her. But we let her like do. She does like a lap around the boat, and then usually comes back into the cockpit and goes down below and goes back to sleep. But we
Oh
don't let
yeah,
her out like when things are kind of rough. Sometimes she'll like sleep like up here while we're sailing
oh yeah,
and stuff. But she's generally really, I think, loved like the outside since we've started sailing, but still like really an indoor cat at heart and just wants to be like sleeping most of the time.
yeah.
Thank you, Brad.
Rouser says, "Enjoy the Bahamas. Be careful. The world is crazy." That was one thing. I was on video with you and Robert Dana, a while back, and one thing I was asking you about was, being gay and going to some of these ports, depending on the area and stuff. If you found any issues, and at that time you said you've been pretty welcomed and everything. And I was just wondering if the Bahamas are any different. if you've noticed anything down there, because like I've talked to one lady who used to live in Jamaica, and she said it is not the most welcoming place. It's kind of there's a lot of homophobia in down there, but I didn't know what it was like in like Bahamas in your area. What have you noticed, or
Yeah.
do you know of anything?
Oh, she jumped off the boat. She was on the dock.
Oh,
Sorry, it's but it's so funny. She's a little crazy, and she makes us laugh. I'd be curious what Cory thinks. But so far in the Bahamas, people have been really chill and just so nice.
oh, that's
And
good.
I think sometimes we're a little naive. Like we think that maybe people don't clock us as being a gay couple. But I think it's pretty obvious, honestly. Like we live on the boat together. We talk about we talk about our stuff, our cat. It's
Yeah.
pretty obvious. And we were at the bar actually here at the marina in Freeport, and an older guy who's an American. He was talking to us, and I always get nervous like talking to strangers, like especially with both of us, because I'm just like, okay, like he's gonna know, like, and is he gonna be okay with it, and is he gonna hate us or say something or treat us differently or whatever? But he just said like right away, he's like, you're clearly a couple. How long have you been together? And we told him like almost 18 years, and it's true. But and he said, he was like, oh my god, that's incredible, like how have you done that, that's insane. And he just treated us like anyone else, and it was really neat. um
That's really cool. I like that.
but he wasn't a Bahamian, he was American, and
Hmm.
still seemed like a little conservative bent, honestly, the way he was talking about other stuff. So that was still pretty um w- comforting. But I don't know, Cory, did you have any takes on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I need to be guarded or anything like that. So yeah, I think
Well, that's good. Yeah,
totally
that's
fine.
a that's a plus.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, people just
Yeah,
seem like, I don't know, like just super genuine and really
We've
nice.
we've done quite a bit of traveling together internationally, including places like India and other
oh yeah,
conservative type countries, and I think I've become pretty comfortable just going with the
yeah.
flow, and I've yet to really feel super concerned during traveling about our relationship status and stuff like that. So
That's good.
Yeah. I get a little nervous. Like I even said the other day, I was like, okay, if it ever comes down to it, I am okay with you referring to me as your friend or your best friend. And there's
Yeah,
something really sad
yeah,
about that, right? Like
yeah,
that's not who, I mean, it's true. We are each other's best friends.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like almost like, and then sometimes I think about it, like maybe I shouldn't be, um, sad about that, because like I know a lot of Americans that travel and say that they're Canadian. They lie about some like
Oh
basic
yeah, yeah,
aspect of their identity, and it's just there's different reasons for doing it and different pluses. But we're probably just gonna play it by ear, and not let it stop us. Like that's
yeah.
the idea, unless something is just egregious. I saw someone in the comments here say that Rousers say that they look at the ratings for cruises and that are given as danger, and then and I'd be curious if there's a little bit more clarity on that. But I know that there's some countries that are a little bit more questionable, and maybe we'll be a little more careful there and just not go. But the plan
Yeah,
is to keep going, like keep going around the world, and see what happens, and try to maybe test that hypothesis that is the world safe? Are people really kind when comes to one on one? My experience in the world has been yes, so far. Except for like we talked about this last time a little bit too, Brandon, I think, where it's like some of the people closest to us in our lives are some of the meanest, right? About like
yeah, yeah,
the basic
yeah.
aspect of our identity. Like I
Right.
haven't experienced as much homophobia as I did when I was a kid, like around my
yeah,
family, unfortunately, and also around my neighbors in my small little suburb I grew up in. Like
Right.
the rest of the world has actually been much kinder than those people that were supposed to be part of my tribe.
Right. Yeah, and I have
Okay.
to do the kind of guarded thing. Oh, sorry. Did you need to?
yeah. I need to step away, Brandon. But it's really great
Okay.
meeting you, and
Yeah, you too. I was glad I got to
yeah,
talk to you.
yeah, for sure.
Um, Yeah, in my own, because I'm in the rural Midwest and it's conservative, so I have to kind of be careful depending on where I go. If I go to a rural country western bar or something like that, I'm probably going to tone it down, uh,
Yeah.
not be as gay, I guess, or whatever. But um, yeah, so it happens in America too, that we have to kind of um, guard ourselves, protect ourselves, depending on the situation. But
Yeah. 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 Speaking of which, actually, I think this happened after I talked to you last time, Brandon, but we went back to rural Virginia, to a place called Deltaville, which is like a one horse town. It's known for its sailing resources. And so a lot of sailors will stop there to get work done on their boat and stuff. And we were there for a week or so, and it's very rural. Like, in order to, when in the place that we anchored, we took the dinghy to the dinghy docks and then had to walk like 30 minutes just to get to a 7-Eleven, then like another 30 minutes to get to the grocery store, and there were no sidewalks or anything. It's pretty like inhospitable, like in terms of unless you have a car. But
yeah,
when we were there, one lady stopped us and offered us a ride back to the boat. And she was really nice. And she said that she had just sailed around the world with her husband. And she said, "I'd love to have you guys over for oysters. Do you like oysters? Like, oh my God, let me go talk to my husband, and we'll like reach out to me on Facebook, and we'll get back to you, and we did reach out to her on Facebook. And we also happened to see on Facebook that her husband had was holding like a Trump mug in one of
oh
his pictures. And it's like, okay, maybe that means something like meaningful, or maybe it's always something a little meaningful for me, but whatever. But she never got
right,
back to us. And we were there for like 5 more days. She just totally ghosted us. She didn't accept Corey's friend request.
mm,
And maybe it's for the best. During that time, I
yeah,
kind of decided like I don't really want to have, break bread with people who aren't going to be just like completely welcoming and whatever. I don't know if they looked at our Facebook, or which I haven't even like looked at in years, but I'm sure it still says I'm like married to Corey, and
right,
uh, maybe they saw that and that wasn't okay. And
yeah,
yeah, like that's America. Like we talk about going all around the world or whatever. And in reality, like most people are really nice. It's like, but it's like our fellow Americans also that unfortunately don't necessarily treat us like the humans that are, with humanity. And because of the political tribalism, largely because like they might have not even like disliked us or feared us because we were gay, but because being gay means we're probably liberal, and maybe being liberal means that we're
yeah,
going to be like asking them to wear a face mask or something. I don't know what they're afraid of exactly, like,
right,
uh, but like maybe my theory is that it's like more about this tribalism of like, no, they're probably Democrats and we are not, and like we are not going to like be friends. Whereas like in the rest of the world, they don't look at things through that lens. They're just more like,
yeah,
sometimes they'll look at you as a potential customer, maybe at the very least, but other times they'll just look at you as a human, and they'll
yeah,
treat you well and say hi and bye and like ask you how you're doing, man. And it's like it's awesome, and no one's like hating you because you might have different beliefs than them. And I think, unfortunately, that's how America, a lot of places in America are. Um,
yeah,
so I'm expecting that things will be pretty chill, like as we keep going, at least for a while.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad you've had a good experience in that respect so far. I mean, I can imagine it could go the other way if you were in different places, met
Yeah,
the wrong people, I guess. But yeah, I guess you've been fortunate so far. So I hope that continues.
me too. Me too. It's one of the least of my worries, I think. Like on the boat. Um, Sorry for the movement there. I needed some water, but yeah, like the boat is also like a lot of things are a little precarious. Like we go sailing and crazy weather with with crazy waves and crazy winds, and
Yeah,
we're on this little boat, and we don't always know 100% what we're doing. And on the list of fears, like how someone's going to treat us, if they're going to be mean to us or whatever is just like not a concern.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is like, it is still a concern. I have more empathy for other people, like actually like younger people. Like I'm 38 and I grew up with this shit. Like I think it's still not acceptable. But if someone were to treat me like with some sort of homophobia or something like that, I think I can handle it a little bit better. It's not going to break me in the way that it used to. And I know we're all in a different place with that, maybe, but I feel more empathy, for people who just don't have that kind of like level of kind of like acceptance for just bad people
Yeah.
in the world, and not like like I just don't internalize it as much. Like it doesn't mean anything. Like it's not about me. It's more about them. Uh,
Yeah.
but like when I'm sailing, like there are a lot of other way more pressing issues.
Right.
And so
Right.
like it has a big way of like focusing us on what's the most important for like our immediate survival and safety. And so I think that also has a lot to do with like the way I'm looking at this, where it's like even if we are in a place where it's not the most welcoming or it feels a little dangerous or whatever, we could hop on the sailboat and leave.
Yeah.
you know we can go play. I don't know, we're not sure exactly what we'll do, but we have a little bit more like flexibility, and then we also have a lot bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, that's one thing I was gonna say. It's like there's I've got to put that joke in there somewhere, but
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of puts things in perspective. Um, yeah, so going back to your article, you were talking about entrepreneurs going through this pattern of you're a beginner, then you feel like an idiot for a while, you keep doing it anyway, you get a little better, you learn lessons, you start again, and one day you realize you're an expert. And that's kind of true as far as the writing world. I mean, you might have been talking more about this about sailing, but like you said, your articles aren't really about sailing; they're about life, and you use kind of sailing as the metaphor, I guess. And that's kind of how I felt like going into writing. It was a risk because I'm a freelance writer too, but I'm putting a lot of time in Substack, and it's time that I could be spent at a full time job making more money, you
Yeah.
know, and that's something that you basically gave up doing the full time job and going after what you enjoy, your passion is, and enjoying life, and so that really I really that really resonated with me as far as my writing career. And
Yeah. Do you feel like you're closer to being like an expert, at least at figuring out this path for yourself, like how this is going to be sustainable and just how you're going to be able to keep going? And where do you feel like you're at right now in that continuum?
I definitely don't feel like an expert yet, but I think I don't know, it's really hard not to compare yourself, because I see other people who are doing really well and got a lot of paid subscribers and all that kind of stuff. And I think, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I find the people that will subscribe to me and all that kind of thing? But then I also saw somebody posted a note the other day that said I think they'd been on Substack for like 2 years and they got their first paid subscriber. And I thought, well, that kind of puts it in perspective too. It's like I'm doing well as far as compared to some people, but I can't, you can't compare yourself because you're doing something completely different than someone else, really. I mean, you're still on the same platform, you're still writing, but it's a different audience, it's a different category or genre or whatever it is. And some people they're doing different things than you are. And you can't compare, apples to oranges or whatever. But
Yeah, and they're also different people, and they have different pasts,
Yeah.
and they have different
Right.
ways of thinking about stuff, and they have different wants and dreams and goals and obsessions, all kinds of stuff. But I do the same thing. A lot of it's actually like probably 50-50. A lot of the people that I really admire on Substack that are really doing well and like have a great community, and I usually like identify people that are doing well first and foremost by just do they have like a really active readership, like that's because
Yeah.
that's what I want. Like I think that's the biggest thing that I like I said earlier, that's really what I care about. But also like the people with check marks, obviously that's the biggest like obvious
Yeah.
thing where it's like, oh, how did you like they have a check mark, let me sometimes I'll go peruse like how long have they been writing on Substack, and
Yeah.
sometimes they've been writing for years, like 3 or 4 years or whatever, and I think about how, I think at my rate, if I by year 2, or sorry, like, when I'm, like, in another year, I might have a check mark. I think that's a reasonable thing to expect if I keep on working hard and publishing every week and doing this thing, and yeah, that's not as fast as some people. I know some people that get them a lot sooner, and I
Right. Right.
also, know a lot of people that have, tons of subscribers and maybe not a lot of paying subscribers, whatever, I don't know, but, like, we're all on different paths, and so
Yeah.
that's something that I try to remember for myself. Like, actually I went to Harvard for my PhD, and it's weird to like to talk about that sometimes because like I didn't come from like a really prestigious academic life or before. Like my parents didn't go to college, they didn't finish college, and I actually started school and community college, and then transferred to a state college for my undergrad. And by the time I got to Harvard, that's actually where I learned to get comfortable feeling like an idiot because because I would get so hard on myself when I would work my ass off in a class and, study for the whole weekend and 24/7 in the library. And then I would still get like a B minus on the test or something. Whereas like the people I studied with would get A's. And I'd be like, what
Yeah.
the hell is the matter with me? Like, this is insane. Like, I never experienced that in school. And I had a mentor at the time that told me, like, Corey, first of all, he's like, classes don't really matter that much. Like, focus on your own goals, like classes or someone else's goals. But then he also, this is my PhD advisor, and then he also told me like, once you like, just you got to get comfortable feeling like an idiot. Like that's where you're pushing yourself. That's where you're pushing your own capabilities. That's how you're growing. And when you live in that space but don't feel bad about it, that's when you can actually like have fun. You know, and so that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do with my Substack and with my sailing, with everything, where like I try my best not like to get inspiration from people, not competition. Like,
Right. Yeah.
and I try my best to really just compare myself to my previous version of myself because like 20 years ago I was like a washed up drug addict. I shouldn't have lived to be like 25. It's a miracle I'm still alive today and I have like anything good going for me, and like I know my journey is different than the average person, and so sometimes, like, when I think about how much progress that I've made, in different realms in my life, I smile so much because I don't compare I'm not comparing myself to the person that's CEO at my age, or the person that has a purple check mark at my age, or the person that's already sailed around the world twice at my age or whatever,
Right.
because that's not my path, you know?
Right.
That's my path is very different, and I kinda love my path, you know? Like, when I think about it, like, I love my memories, I love the people I know, I love the experiences I have, I love the mistakes I made because now they're kinda funny a lot of times,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
like, I don't want someone else's life, I want to just, like, enjoy mine, and so, I'm still a work in progress in a lot of ways, like, I haven't figured out exactly, like, how we're gonna sustain this adventure long term. We do need to make more money at some point. We're not in dire straits today, and so I try to remember that. But but that's also like more will be revealed. Like we'll figure it out. Like I guess we'll figure it out. Like I figured out everything else in my life, and this is kind
Right.
of a
Right.
test to see like is that true? I think so. Like I'm a pretty hard worker. I'm not going to just like let myself like fall apart. Like I'll do something. Well, and when my husband, thankfully, I have like a partner that also works hard, But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at and kind of how I view this whole spectrum and things like that.
Yeah, and in a way, I kind of feel the same way where I'm at right now because I'm putting all this energy in and to Substack and making a little bit, not not as much as I would like to, and I still need to do like side side gigs, freelance writing jobs, but um, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm willing to be an idiot sometimes, I do these live videos and I've been doing baking videos and stuff, and sometimes they don't go the way I planned them to, and I've been experimenting with my own original recipes and stuff, and so that's uh but I think that's been good because there have been a lot of people who have said they enjoy it and they want to see the realness, I guess.
Mm.
I'm just putting it out there and sometimes making mistakes and but if you look at like the professionals who are doing it, they're they're recording these videos and editing them, and they bring out this dish that's perfectly done and everything, and that they've done that behind the scenes and everything, and the video is all edited. But I'm doing this live,
Yeah.
so it's like I'm not hiding anything. This is what it is, and if it comes out wrong, well, I know how to do it next time or what to avoid next time or whatever. But yeah, I can definitely relate to that part of it,
Yeah.
and yeah, you definitely can't compare yourself to a lot of other people on here, especially celebrities. And it's funny that you mentioned Kathy Griffin earlier because I mentioned her in a note right after she first got on Substack, and I had gotten a couple paid subscribers, and I was the rising list. I was like right above Kathy Griffin, and she had just started though, and I put a note out there, and it's like, hey, look, I took a screenshot, and I was like, hey, look, I'm above Kathy Griffin, and I said, let's subscribe to me so we can teach the celebrities, that they can't control subject. I don't remember what I
Yeah.
said. Something I mentioned her though. I tagged her, and I didn't expect her to reply or anything, but she did.
What? She
And
replied? That's funny.
yes, yeah, she's like, so she was kind of snarky about it. I don't think she quite got that I was being facetious or sarcastic about it. And she was like, "Oh yeah, Brandon, you really clocked me. I've worked hard on these many years, and I'm being a woman in comedy, I always get put down because of men and everything like that." And I was like, I was just joking. Yeah.
Gee. You have to tell the comedian when it's a joke. That's
I
ironic.
know that's what I thought. It's like it was obviously a joke the way I wrote it. I was like, I'm because I knew that she'd only been there a couple of weeks and she hadn't even posted anything yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was like, all right. But it's funny that she replied.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really funny.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I celebrities that there are a lot of celebrities that we were talking about them paywalling their stuff, but there's some like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is on Substack, and he doesn't paywall any of his content. He puts out a lot of live videos. He talks about AI and he's really working to make sure that creators are compensated for any of their work that AI uses, and like artists and writers and all that kind of thing. He's a big
Yeah.
proponent for trying to get them, because right now AI just takes whatever they want from wherever they want, whomever they want, and they're
Yeah.
not compensated for it. And he's really trying to work to make sure artists are compensated. So I really appreciate him, and I follow him partly because he doesn't paywall his stuff, and he's really working for us. So anyway, I
Yeah.
I
He's
try to
using his
pick and choose.
he's using his platform for like some maybe greater good other than like self enrichment, and
Right.
at the point that where he doesn't need the money, apparent, presumably. So
Right.
that's pretty cool. I think that's the way I wish more people would do that with their amazing platforms.
Yeah.
And platforms like Substack. But but yeah, I really like what you said also about just sharing like your baking videos, and have it be more raw and unfiltered and everything, because it's interesting that like we have like people like Martha Stewart, for instance, who have made empires on a sort of
Yeah.
perfection, and like selling like this idea
Yeah.
that even uh, you know, anyone can basically cook a 5-star like fine dining meal and that kind of thing. And I think that's a form of empowerment there, where like, it doesn't, you don't need to be a trained chef or go to France or whatever to have like good meals and all that. And I think she has like a charm about her that people have really responded to and stuff. But that's never going to be my style. It doesn't seem like that's your style, like at least in terms of like
Yeah.
producing content along those lines. But except like now Martha Stewart is like taking this turn where she's actually a lot more chill and cool, and would probably do something more
Right.
similar to what you're doing, actually, just like
Yeah.
with naked in a cooking apron. Like she'd
Right.
probably do something like that. I think it's brilliant, and it would probably go viral. It would
Yeah.
certainly go viral. And but I mean, I think there's room and a place for both of those. But like for me, like I know that there's probably certain things I could do differently in order to maybe gain more subscribers. Like my subscribers have also like really responded well to my cooking stuff, because like I cook a lot of really amazing meals on our boat.
Yeah. I saw. Did you? Was it a video that you did that I watched? I can't remember what it was you were making, but I watched. I think it was mainly like vegetables, because you were talking about how you need to learn what you could keep without refrigerating it for a long, or what you could use, without,
Yeah, yeah,
it wasn't
exactly.
things that wouldn't go bad quickly and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't have a refrigerator on our boat. Most boats do in the modern era, but ours is broken, and we didn't want to spend the $2,000 to fix it, so we
Yeah.
are going without. And I think the only video I posted on Substack was about making some homemade Indian naan. But I also like post a lot of pictures about like the produce that I get and how well it keeps, and even without a fridge. And we have eggs, and we have bell peppers, and we have zucchini, and we have broccoli, and we have carrots, and we have potatoes and onions and garlic and all this amazing stuff. And it keeps for quite a while if you take care of it well outside of the fridge. And so I've been posting a lot of material like that, and I don't have a ton of new stuff to share other than we're back in like warmer weather, so some of those the perishability is going to be a little different than what it was like in the cooler regions up north in the United States. But I don't want to be like I don't know, I want to do it when I want to do it. Like I think like there might be some sort of niche for me to carve out where it's like, oh, Cory, the boat galley guy who like cooks on his boat. Like maybe I could be that guy and make $1 million or whatever. I doubt it, but I also have to like do what I want to do. And I hope that doesn't like that lack of focus or commitment to a single thing isn't going to bite me in the back, because like or in the end, because I know that also, it is really important to just commit to a niche and commit to like a message, or commit to a type of thing that you're doing, and scaling that, and be recognized as like by people as like doing this things a certain way and whatever. But for me, at least, my newsletter is evolving. Like it's evolving as I'm
Yeah.
evolving, and it's not. It's actually very similar to what I originally intended it to be when I launched it a year ago, but it took a year to get there, and which is
Yeah.
kind of interesting. But like, I don't know. I think like if I would have hired a coach or hired like a PR person or whatever, they would have told me that I did it wrong, or I should have done it some other way. Um, but again, this is why I need to like just compare myself to my past self, because I'm figuring all this
Yeah.
out by myself. And like, yeah, if I came from like a background in PR, or like, even like journalism or marketing or anything like that, maybe I would have like been further along now. I would have thought about things differently. But yeah, I'm also doing all kinds of other stuff, and I want to have fun, and I really hope that what I'm building can grow. You know, I would love to connect with more people and just like reach more people. I think that's one of the reasons why we do what we do is we want to like have our work connect, and like that's part of like
Yeah.
creativity for me is to be able to share what I'm doing. That's really important. Not everyone feels that need. A lot of people just like kind of create in the quiet of their own home and never publish anything, and I respect that. But for me, like sharing what I do is really important. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite ego or anything. I think it's actually just part of the connection that I need
Right.
as like
Yeah.
someone um, who always like felt like an alien on this planet, who never like knew his people for like the first couple decades of his life or for my life. Like I that connection that I get with people just through my work and through this platform has been so powerful and so cool. Um, but it makes sense that I'm evolving with it, and I hope that like in the next year or two, and on this journey, sailing, this is going to be something a little bit bigger and more predictable and more established.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it evolves.
Yeah. And I think Substack is good for branching out too when you have like now that you can have different sections for different topics. Like I've like the pod, like I'm doing my baking videos. I have a section for that, and people can unsubscribe or subscribe just to that if whether they like it or not. And then so you can be more eclectic. You don't have to stick to one specific niche. If people like you but they like a particular part of your content, then they can subscribe to that part of it and maybe not to the others or whatever. So I think
Yeah,
that's helpful. I
yeah,
really
I
like that
agree.
aspect.
I haven't thought through all that stuff with me yet. Um, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where I'll go in that world. I do feel pretty good because I used to get a lot of people unsubscribing from my work. Like once I would send out a newsletter, I would get like anywhere between 3 and 5 people would unsubscribe, and
Oh, really?
yeah, it was very weird. But I think like that's part of just, and it used to really frustrate me. This was like as I was newer in with Substack, but I think it was because I got a lot of my subscribers through notes that weren't even related to sailing. They were just like
Oh,
random topics that got me a lot of subscribers. Or I get also subscribers through recommendations from other people, and from their newsletter. And I think that some people just, um,
yeah,
it makes sense that they wouldn't uh, connect necessarily once they saw what I'm doing. But I've noticed
right.
that that unsubscriber thing has gone down quite a bit lately. Like
Oh,
people don't unsubscribe anymore generally. So I feel like
that's good.
maybe that means that they're generally interested in everything that I'm doing, but I'm not sure. Like if like the sections would be important sometime in the future to, especially if I'm publishing like maybe more than once a week at some point. There might be
Right.
some there, but I'm not exactly sure how to use that for myself.
Yeah, I think it would be a good way to test something out. Like if you can create a new section, and if you had a different interest or whatever, or publish in a different way, or maybe if you have long form content, try short form content in this section or whatever, and see how that does. And you can always get rid of that section if it doesn't work or whatever. But yeah, I think it could be a good way to test something new.
Yeah.
But well, we're at almost at an hour. So before we go, I wanted to tell just everybody in the audience, in the chat, thanks for coming in. And if you're not subscribed to Cory, please do so. And of course, if you're not subscribed to me, you can subscribe to me too. That would be awesome. But I'm sure both of us would appreciate it. I really appreciate you coming on and making the time. I know you're busy going in and out of places. Do you have a plan as to where you're going next, or can you tell us, or want to tell
Yeah.
us?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why the captain, my husband, is like kind of in and out right now as we're getting ready to leave tomorrow.
Okay.
We're in the northern part of the Bahamas in an island called Grand Bahama, and we're going to a fish fry tonight actually with like locals and some friends that we have
Oh,
here,
okay.
and really excited about that. But tomorrow we're going to sail south to an island Either we're not exactly sure where yet. This is kind of how it goes, where we decide based on the weather and our energy levels, maybe sometimes the day of where we're exactly going. But we're going either to the Berry Islands or to Eleuthera. These are like most of the more picturesque beaches in the Bahamas, and the hope is that we can get there and camp out for like a week or two, and and swim and snorkel, and I can do a lot of writing and work on
Yeah.
my business a little bit more. This coaching business that I just started, and so yeah, I'm really excited for that. Like Cory is like currently working on the boat like most of the time, and like pretty much all the time, and he's like freeing me up, or he like is so supportive of everything I'm doing with the Substack and thinks it's so cool. So yeah, we have that dynamic going on, and we're excited to just like keep sharing what like this adventure and everything that we learn, um, and I hope that it helps inspire other folks to see what they're capable of too, because we're not sailors by any means. We are now, I guess, but we weren't sailors, I
Yeah.
guess is a better way to say it. And yet
Yeah.
we're just like sailing from island to island in the Bahamas right now, pretty confidently, and it's pretty cool. So that's what we're doing. And my newsletter on Sunday should have some details about wherever we end up, because I think
Okay.
we most likely will be there by Friday or Saturday, wherever we're going. So I'll have some updates and some pictures, and I want to do some more video. Also, that's something I'm trying to get into because the sailing life is so photogenic. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to do different mediums.
I've seen some of the pictures, like your sunsets and stuff, that you posted on Notes, and they're really, really pretty.
Yeah, it's amazing. Ted just said, aren't there dozens of islands? There are 700 islands in the Bahamas, actually, which is kind of
Oh,
wild.
wow.
I don't know
I
how
didn't
many.
realize that.
Yeah, it's so many. So we'll see how many we get to. But anyway,
Yeah,
thanks for
that's
having me
cool.
on, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I had a bunch of stuff written down, and I didn't even get to a lot of it. So maybe
Oh
we
yeah.
can do this again sometime when you're on when you're uh, docked somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Well, tell Captain Cory goodbye and pineapple, and thanks for joining me. And
Absolutely.
everybody
And
else, see you all later. Oh,
yeah, stay warm and keep your kitties warm.
oh,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Thanks for everyone who joined us. It's so awesome to have folks take an interest in what we're talking about and stuff. It means a lot. And if anyone has any questions or whatever, my DMs are open. I'm happy to chat. Happy to get to know folks. Again, that's like my favorite part of writing here is getting to know who you all are and where you all come from and everything like that. It's like the biggest joy of this of having any sort of reach or any sort of audience at all. So feel free to reach
Yeah,
out.
I agree. I've had a lot of fun getting to know people through the videos and articles and stuff. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
All right,
All right.
Brandon. Take care.
See y'all later. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.